Welcome to this video, The Perfect Morning Routine. In this video, I'm going to talk about why mornings are special, we'll talk about your current morning routine, and designing your perfect morning routine. Why listen to me? I have a medical degree and a master's in psychological medicine, and I've spent 15 years helping clients to create new habits, including many morning routines. So this is something very familiar with. What I'm going to tell you is based on the principles of cognitive behavioral therapy with a few twists that I've added based on my experience with clients and also my own personal experiences. Part 1, the psychology of the morning routine. Why do we make such a big deal about mornings? You go to a bookstore, you look around, there's lots of books on the morning routine. You don't hear so much about the afternoon routine or the evening routine. Why do mornings matter so much? Well, we have to ask, what is the purpose of a morning routine? Is it to be able to publish better Instagram content like this? And I love this image because that has got to be one of the most uncomfortable places to sit and meditate. And also she's faced away from the beautiful scenery and potentially looking at the car park. So I don't think this is the real purpose of a morning routine. Is the morning routine then to show others that you're serious about self-improvement? Is it about telling people I take cold showers? I wake up at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. I wake up earlier than you, so I'm a better person than you. I don't think this is also not the aim of a morning routine. I believe that the morning routine has two purposes. First of all, it's to start the day, it's to set the tone for the day. An intentional, conscious start can lead to more focus, productivity, and positivity that you then carry through into the day. The second reason is that mornings are special. There are definitely fewer distractions earlier in the morning. And early hours, they're quieter. You don't get the interruptions from work emails, phone calls, other people, or other responsibilities. But from a neurobiological point of view, mornings are definitely special. Mornings are the optimum time for focus because of something called the CAR. And this molecule here is cortisol, and the CAR is the cortisol awakening response. Mostly, if you've heard of cortisol, you think of the stress hormone and stress being a bad thing, cortisol being a bad thing. But that's more talking about chronic elevation or long-term elevation of cortisol levels. Cortisol itself is actually a hormone with lots of vital functions. And there's a normal phenomenon where when we wake up, our cortisol levels rise sharply. And this happens about 30 to 45 minutes after waking. And what does this cortisol awakening response do? It makes us more alert, gives us more focus, gives us more energy, and improves our thinking, our recall, our problem solving. And this is the crucial insight. If you can take this on board, I think it's really important. We get this cortisol awakening response whenever we wake up. So whether that's in the morning or in the afternoon or in the evening, if you wake up from a nap, you get a cortisol response as well. But it's significantly larger in the mornings compared to in the afternoons. So what this means is we get this very helpful cortisol boost. It happens whenever we wake up, but the one that happens in the mornings is larger than any other one. So we are given a gift of increased focus, concentration, and energy in the morning more than any other time. In other words, mornings are special, but not because we want them to be, but because our body tells us that they are. Part 2, what is your current morning routine? Now, if we accept that mornings are special, then the morning routine is something we want to get the most out of. And with that in mind, here are some examples of bad things to do in your morning routine. So the first one is checking social media as soon as you wake up. There are lots of people, I don't do this, fortunately, but there's lots of people who wake up, roll over, grab their phone and start checking Instagram. When you think about it, you've got this gift of focus and concentration. Is that the best way to use your time? Second of all, eating breakfast. I mean, there's nothing wrong with eating breakfast, but when you're focused like this, is eating your eggs the best use of your time? Washing your hair. Is that the best use of your time when you've got this extra gift of focus? Commuting. Now, I don't have a commute anymore, but when I did, I used to waste it listening to music or listening to talk radio. Checking emails. This is one that I still struggle with. It's very tempting when you wake up to start checking emails, even if you're not going to do anything about it. If you're not going to do anything about it, you're better off not doing it at all. And even phone calls and chit-chat. early in the morning when you've got that focus, do you want to waste it talking to others or just having random conversations? And even tidying up. Tidying up's a good thing, but again, at that time of morning, not a good use of your time. And even working out. So I've got a friend, he would wake up, he'd spend 20 minutes walking to the gym, he'd work out, then he'd have a shower, then he'd spend 20 minutes walking back. So it was a good 2 hours of his prime time of focus wasted in working out. I'm not saying working out's a bad thing. And also, I'm not saying that some form of exercise in your morning routine is a bad thing. I'm not saying that either. But spending 2 hours working out is probably not a good use of your time. So that's the whole list. And which of these do? You can also put this in the comments below. And this is an important caveat about morning routines, which I think it's really important to remember this. So I saw a client 2 weeks ago for his habit accelerator session. So this is the free session that I do for clients where we go through their habits and we figure out the one habit that's really going to move the needle on their business and on their life. So I saw him and we were talking about his morning routine, and he said he wanted to start his days better. He wanted a better morning routine because he knew how important it was. And he was frustrated that it wasn't happening. And usually if you went and saw someone about this, a common or a usual response would be, you need to try harder, don't you want it enough? You need to find your why, you need to find your passion, you need to get more motivated. But that's not how I work, because I want to figure out why something's not happening. It's often not because you're weak-willed or have no willpower. There's often a good reason why people are doing certain behaviors or struggling to do other behaviors. So I wanted to know what was happening in the evenings. And my client said, I stay up late on my phone doom scrolling. And I wanted to know why. And as I delved a little deeper, he wasn't just doom scrolling for the sake of it. It was for a specific reason. It was because his whole day was filled with shoulds. I should work on particular tasks, I should do exercise. So this was actually an acute case of revenge bedtime procrastination. And if you've seen my video on evening routines, you might recognize this. It's when your whole day is filled with responsibilities and things you should do, and you get to the end of the day and you know you should go to sleep, but you want to take revenge on the fact that you didn't have any time to yourself. So even though you should be going to sleep, you end up watching videos or scrolling or doing other things just to get that feeling of control back. But it ultimately sabotages the next day. So the point here is your life does not occur in isolation. And we can talk all we want about morning routines, but you cannot have a successful morning routine without a good evening routine. And actually, you should sort out both of them at the same time. That's what I do with clients. We sort out the evening and the morning routine at the same time. Part 3, now we get to the action, creating the perfect morning routine. So I just want to tell you quickly about my morning routine. So I've never been a morning person. I used to wake up at 7 a.m. extremely reluctantly after finally going to bed at like midnight or 1 a.m. And my father-in-law, who meditates a lot, kept saying, start meditating in the mornings. And he said, meditating early in the morning is worth more than meditating later in the day. You just get more value from it. And that was my motivation for waking earlier. So, but based on my schedule at the time, it was really difficult because, I dragged myself out of bed at 7, really in a rush to get ready. There wasn't really any extra time. So what I did was I started with 5 minutes of meditation by waking 5 minutes earlier. And then this turned into 10 minutes of meditation. Eventually, it's led to 25 minutes of meditation, which is what I do now. And then I introduced deep work. And my motivation for deep work was basically realizing that I had this productive time in the mornings where I could get a lot of work done between, say, 9 and 12. But I found if I did an hour of work at 5:30 in the morning, it was worth 3 or 4 hours later on in the day, even during my more productive times in the morning. So given that there was so much value from doing that work in the morning, it really made me want to introduce that into my morning routine. Then I added stretching, push-ups, squats, a weighted walk, so that's walking with weights on, weights, pull-ups, and also most recently I've started journaling in the morning as well, but only just doing 3 minutes at the moment. That's how I start any habit. Very small, and we'll talk a bit more about that. I start off small and then slowly ramp it up. But the point here is I didn't start with a 2-hour routine. I started with one habit. It was a keystone habit, which is mentioned in this book, The Power of Habit. This is a habit that's sort of the foundation, the cornerstone that you can then use as the foundation to build other habits on top of. And I remember I started small. I just started with 5 minutes of meditation. Then I slowly ramped it up, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 25 minutes, etc. And then I slowly added more and more habits. I did not jump to the 2-hour routine that I have now. So let's talk about your morning routine now. Let's upgrade your morning routine. I'm going to read out some potential activities that you can add to your morning routine. You can think about the ones that you like, and at the end I'll give you the master list and you can select the ones that you want to try. They're going to be in 4 areas. So mindfulness and mental clarity, activity and energy, productivity, planning and work, and personal growth. So the first one, meditation. This is the one I do. I think it's a brilliant cornerstone habit. I wouldn't go without it. Deep breathing, which is very related to meditation, but you might want to try that instead. Morning pages. So if you've ever read the book The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, so she suggests getting a pen, 3 pieces of paper, and just writing, and basically stream of consciousness, free writing, write whatever comes to mind. Stephen King, the writer, I think he likens it to opening a tap, and at the beginning, all the water that comes out is dirty, but as the tap keeps flowing, the clean water comes out. And this is kind of like clearing out all the crud in your mind so that once you've gotten rid of those morning pages, your thoughts are clearer. Another thing to do in the morning is gratitude and visualization. Activity and energy is the next section. So you can do stretching, which I do, yoga, I don't do. Exercise, again, you don't want to do 2 hours of exercise, but just some kind of exercise that just gets the blood flowing. Walking, dancing, hydration, having a glass of water, and cold showers. This is one I don't do, or I've done a little bit, but I really want to start doing more consistently. Productivity and planning, you can do journaling, you can review your goals, you can create your to-do list. I prefer to do that in the evening so I can go to bed nice and relaxed and then wake up and I know exactly what I need to do, but you could also do it in the morning. I think brainstorming, mornings are a perfect time to do brainstorming because your mind is so clear and you've got that focus. Morning reading, you can read an inspirational or educational book. Affirmations, deep work, as I said, this is something I really think is very helpful to do. And a side hustle. So a lot of people will talk about going to work, doing their day job, coming home, having dinner, putting the kids to bed, and then working on their side hustle. I would totally recommend going to bed, putting the kids to bed, going to bed with them, waking up early, and then you've got that gift of focus and attention and alertness in the morning to work on your side hustle. It's a much better way of doing it. And finally, personal growth. So you could use that time in the morning for creative work, writing, painting, sculpting, learning something new like a podcast, educational video, practicing a hobby, writing a blog, writing a novel. So this is the entire list. You can pick one of these to start. As I said, I would recommend starting off very small, then slowly ramp it up. And then once you're confident that you're doing that regularly, add more and more habits to it and just keep going from there.